I'm sure you've seen or at least heard of the movie 300 from 2006. It's a pretty popular film that references the Agoge and showcases the Battle of Thermopylae. In the movie, the 300 Spartan warriors who face off against the massive Persian army have all undergone the intense training of the Agoge. Although the Agoge isn't the main focus of the film, it does a great job of capturing the disciplined and fearless nature of the Spartans. You can see how the rigorous training of the Agoge plays a significant role in their ability to stand the ground against overwhelming odds. It's amazing to witness the impact of their training on the battlefield and how it helps them overcome incredible challenges. So if you're into action-packed movies with epic battles and want to get a glimpse of how the Agoge played a role in shaping the Spartan warriors, stay tuned until the very end of this video. The Agoge, or Spartan education and military training, took place during ancient times in the city-state of Sparta. It was a system that was developed and implemented roughly between the 7th and 4th centuries BCE. This period corresponds to the height of Spartan power and influence in ancient Greece. This training was like boot camp, but on a whole different level. The purpose was to mold young Spartan boys into disciplined soldiers who would be ready to defend their city-state with everything they had. When these Spartan boys were around 7 years old, they were taken from their families and put under the care of the state. They were immersed in this intense training system known as Agoge. The boys were organized into age groups or cohorts and assigned to a mentor known as Paidonimus. This mentor, often an older Spartan, took on the responsibility of overseeing their physical and moral development, acting as a role model and guide throughout the training process. The training in the Agoge was no walk in the park. These kids had to face some seriously tough conditions that really tested their physical and mental strength. They lived in Spartan barracks with minimal comforts and amenities, emphasizing simplicity. Their diets were intentionally kept modest, teaching them how to survive unlimited rations. The goal was to toughen them up and instill the values of endurance and self-discipline. But it didn't stop there. The young Spartans were constantly pushed beyond their comfort zones, always striving to improve and surpass their own limits. Daily activities including running, wrestling matches, and other grueling physical challenges. It cultivated the Spartan ideal of producing warriors who were not only physically capable, but also mentally resilient, creating an indomitable force on the battlefield. But it wasn't all about physical training. These Spartan boys had their brains put to work too. They were taught subjects like reading, writing, and arithmetic. Although the focus wasn't solely on academic knowledge, the real aim was to cultivate qualities that would make them top-notch Spartan soldiers. Discipline, obedience, loyalty to the state. These were the values drilled into the young minds. Another interesting thing about the Agoge was the tight-knit relationships that developed among the trainees. These young Spartans lived, ate, and trained together, forging deep bonds of brotherhood and camaraderie. This sense of unity was no mere coincidence. It played a vital role in Spartan military units, where soldiers relied on one another for support and protection on the battlefield. Imagine the trust and loyalty that grew among these trainees as they went through the grueling challenges of the Agoge side by side. As those young Spartans matured, their training took a sharp turn towards mastering military skills. It was time to level up. It dug deep into the world of combat, soaking up knowledge on an array of combat techniques and strategies. Bravery in battle was a core principle instilled in these aspiring warriors. They were taught to face danger head-on and to stand tall in the face of adversity. It was all about cultivating that warrior spirit within them and making sure they were mentally and emotionally prepared to take on any opponent or obstacle that dared to cross their path. From mastering the art of weapon handling to perfecting hand-to-hand combat techniques, they left no stone unturned. And let's not forget about formation tactics. They learned how to fight as a cohesive unit, moving and striking with precision and coordination. Now let's talk about the annual Crypteia. The Crypteia was a famous part of the Agoge that happened towards the end of the training. Usually when the trainees were in their late teens, it was a special kind of test they had to go through to prove themselves. They were sent out into the countryside, armed only with a dagger and minimal supplies. Their task was to survive on their own and hunt down helots. So what are these helots? They were a class of people in ancient Sparta who were enslaved and considered the lowest social group. They were primarily the descendants of the conquered people and neighboring populations who were subjugated by the Spartans. The helots were forced to work the land and perform various agricultural tasks to support Spartan society. Unlike the Spartan citizens, helots had limited rights and were subjected to harsh living conditions. They were bound the land and were not able to leave their assigned territories without permission. The helots were considered property of the state and were obligated to provide labor and resources to their Spartan overlords. Okay, so going back, the purpose of the Crypteia was to test the skills, resourcefulness, and loyalty of the young Spartans. They had to rely on their instincts, physical abilities, and cleverness to navigate the countryside and carry out the missions. During the Crypteia, the Spartans interacted with the helots, gathering information and keeping an eye on them. Sometimes they were even tasked with eliminating potential threats or rebellious individuals. This experience gave the young Spartans first-hand knowledge of the helots and allowed them to develop skills in stealth, observation, and survival. The Crypteia not only trained the young Spartans but also instilled fear in the helot population. The helots never knew when a Spartan trainee would appear, which maintained Spartan control over them. It was a way for Sparta to assert its dominance and keep the helots in check. The Agoge was a real test of strength and character. It wasn't a cakewalk, and not everyone could make it through. It was an intense and demanding process that weeded out those who couldn't meet the tough standards or didn't have what it took. Those who didn't measure up got the boot, leaving only the toughest and most capable ones to soldier on. But let me tell you, for those who did complete the Agoge, it was no small feat. They weren't just seen as tough warriors, they were given the ultimate prize: full Spartan citizenship. The sign of respect and honor. It was like waving a flag that shouted, "Hey, I've been through the Agoge and I've earned my place." The pride and sense of identity that came with being a Spartan citizen were off the charts. These individuals had proven themselves worthy, having endured grueling physical and mental challenges, surpassed their own limits, and developed the necessary skills for battle. They had earned a place among the select few who embodied the ideals and values of Spartan society. Spartan society revolved around a strict system that aimed to produce disciplined citizens, with the Agoge playing a crucial role in shaping their character. Sparta's influence on Greek history is evident with events like the Battle of Thermopylae, leaving a lasting legacy and inspiring generations with their tales of bravery and sacrifice. We hope you had a blast. Show some love by giving this video a thumbs up and be sure to turn on those notifications so you never miss an episode. Remember to subscribe to our channel, Discover Ancient Civilizations, so you never miss an episode. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay engaged with a fascinating history. We'll catch up with you soon.